What's going on, Rams fans? Welcome back to another episode of Rams Showcase. This time we're going on patrol, and I have some incredible other Rams YouTubers with me today. It's something that rarely happens, but today we are doing it. So I've got Rams House with me. I've also got Rams Fan KDH. And if you guys haven't subscribed to their channels, you guys can see those channels on your screen right now. Make sure you guys head over there, check out some of their videos, hit a bunch of likes, hit a bunch of subscribes, do all that stuff, and show some love to the fellow Rams fans, because we all love this team. That's what we're all here for. So first of all, how you guys doing? We'll start with you, Rams House. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm pumped up for Stafford and everything that he brings to this table, hoping that we can win a Super Bowl and just enjoying Sunday.
That would be an absolute blast. Rams Fan KDH in the Bobby Trees jersey, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Sorry I wasn't able to make it earlier at church, so yeah.
Hey, it's all good. We're here now, and that's what matters the most. All right, so let's go ahead and hop in, man. I got a couple of questions for you guys. We'll go kind of back and forth. I'll let you guys know who's coming up to answer, and then I'll also give my answer as well. Selfishly, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So first up, we'll go ahead and start with you, Rams Fan KDH. This one will start with you first. How much does the Rams offense improve with the addition of Matt Stafford? So going from Goff to Matt Stafford, what do you think that improvement looks like?
I think that he could get us closer to the Super Bowl and maybe actually to the Super Bowl. And yeah, he could throw the ball good and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's got an absolute cannon attached to his shoulder, man. Rams House, what about you, man? What do you think that improvement looks like going from Goff to Stafford?
I honestly think there's going to be a huge improvement because, honestly, for Sean McVay to be able to pick his own quarterback, unlike what he wasn't able to do with Goff, I think that's honestly going to really help because he has something in mind. And I think with his schemes, he's able to open up the playbook even more. And he knows that with Stafford, he's better with the accuracy and actually taking deeper shots, which is honestly what McVay likes to do. So I think that this offense is going to have a huge jump. I think Woods and Kupp are definitely going to be over 1,000 yards receiving. And Van Jefferson, if he is going to be the third guy, who knows who we're going to bring in. I think he's going to be close to 1,000 too, because I honestly think with him and Cam Akers, that's just going to be a good combo.
I absolutely agree with that, man. It seemed like quarterback was a little bit of a weak spot last year. I'm a Jared Goff fan. I always will be. I'm a big supporter of Goff, but turnovers were a problem, and it felt like that was a weak spot. And I think that the Rams got better there. So winning 10 games and winning a road playoff game, and we just improved a problem spot on our offense. Our defense looks like it's still going to be strong. We did lose a few good players, but I think that we're looking pretty good this year. And you're right. That's a great point of the fact that, Jeff Fisher was the one that brought in Jared Goff, not Sean McVay. So now he actually was able to choose somebody. So yeah, that's big. We'll go back to you, Rams House, on this one. Which player that the Rams lost do you think has the biggest impact on the roster this season?
Honestly, I think it's kind of obvious, John Johnson, since he was such a good safety for us. I feel like he was like top 3. And he was just so great at, even though he didn't get too many interceptions, he was just kind of like Ramsey, where he was able to either shut down or break up whatever passes there were. But like, as far as morale in locker room, I think that would be Brockers, just because of like everything he brought to the locker room. But as far as like talent and everything, that John Johnson brought that to the Rams.
Absolutely. Rams Fan KDH, who's our biggest loss?
I would agree with Rams House. It's John Johnson, because he was everywhere this season. He got a lot of deflections, tackles, and he was stopping the run a lot. He's a run stopper safety. So yeah, and also Troy Hill too. We lost him to the Browns. He was very good too, since he got a few pick sixes. So yeah.
Yeah, Troy Hill had a couple of very exciting touchdowns. That one against Arizona really sticks out to me because once the interception happened, I did not think that was going to end in a touchdown. So that was pretty exciting. But I have to agree with John Johnson. I think that's such a huge loss. The Rams secondary obviously was very strong last year, very good against the pass. First time in team history that they finished first in points allowed and first in yards allowed. So losing 2 members of the secondary and two productive members of the secondary definitely hurts, but I've got some faith. But either way, yeah, John Johnson I think is a pretty big loss. This next question here, let's see here. We got the Rams are one of two teams. There's only two teams in the NFL right now that have not went out and signed an outside free agent. The other team is the Green Bay Packers. When does that change, and what position gets addressed? We'll start with Rams fan KDH.
So what's the question again? I didn't understand it.
Okay, no worries. So the Rams have yet to sign an outside free agent. So when do you think they sign a free agent, and what position do you think they go for?
I think they go for receiver. Since we're probably gonna lose Josh Reynolds, and Gerald Everett went to the Seahawks, so we do need another receiver. So maybe some guy who could catch the ball deep, and maybe someone who's very quick, and someone who could run like end arounds very quickly, so we could get first downs and touchdowns. So yeah, I think they're gonna go for a receiver.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that Brandon Cooks aspect of the offense definitely feels like it's lacking a little bit. And Rams house, what about you? What do you think? What position do we target?
I honestly am thinking if they're still around, obviously they have interest in Adoree Jackson, but I feel like that's a little bit far-fetched, at cornerback. I feel like that's something they could do if he's in free agency, but also they could address the wide receiver position, but I think in the draft they're going to do that because I have somebody I'm very high on in the draft, which is Eskridge, Dwayne Eskridge. He's a very fast receiver. I really want them to get him, but as far as in free agency, I think they could get somebody like a linebacker if they find one. They could even get Clowney if he doesn't want a lot of money, because he's been staying around for a while. So if they could just add him to be on the other side of Floyd and then have Donald in the middle, I think that would make us very strong. And also if you can just find, I don't really have a team in particular, but if you can just find somebody in free agency for protection, pass protection to help protect Matthew Stafford, I think that would be a good move too.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I think that the Rams do go with a linebacker. I think that's kind of where the target will happen. Last year, entering the season, everybody was saying that linebacker was the Rams' weak spot, but Joe Barry, he was the linebackers coach and great coach. And I think that he turned what was on paper a weak unit into an actual strength of the Rams. Like Kaiser played really well. Even guys like Kenny Young, who a part of that trade with Marcus Peters, I didn't think that Kenny Young was really going to make that big of an impact, but then you see times like last year that, he can make an impact. He had that pick six against, Cam Newton and the Patriots. So I think that that's really where the Rams will target. And there's some decent names out there right now, but, we'll see what happens. But speaking of the defense, obviously we had Brandon Staley at defensive coordinator. He was only around for 1 year and did such an awesome job that he got promoted outside of our, well, I guess kind of inside of our building. They play in the same place, but he's now the head coach of the Chargers. So we'll start with you, Rams House, on this one. Brandon Staley to Raheem Morris, is that an improvement or is it a downgrade?
Honestly, it's going to be hard to match what Staley did because he turned a group that honestly I thought might be top 10 at best, and he just made them absolutely crazy last year. So that's going to be hard to match. I feel like we'll still be top 10 or top 5. So a little bit of a downgrade, but I think that knowing that with McVay, he already knows what Morris does since he's already been with him. He's experienced his leadership and everything. I think, honestly, if you put anybody at defensive coordinator for the Rams, they're going to look good because they have 2 Hall of Famer guys there, and there's just so much talent on that defense. So I think we're going to be top 10 or top 5, but it's incredibly hard to match what Staley did.
Yeah, it was an awesome defensive season for the Rams. Rams fan KDH, does the Rams defense get better from last year, or do you think it gets worse?
I think it gets worse because Brandon Staley was a good defensive coordinator or defensive coach, whatever you want to call it, for the Rams. He was really good, and Raheem, his name is Raheem Morris, right? I'm not mistaken. Yeah. The Falcons defense, he was the Falcons, right? Okay, yeah. Because I don't want to you know what I mean? Okay, so I think it's a downgrade because the Falcons defense, they weren't playing good, so that means probably the coach was doing something wrong. the Falcons defense, like they sold the Buccaneers game, they sold a lot of games. So yeah, I think it's a big downgrade and will probably be maybe a top 15 defense this year.
Interesting. All right. See, I'm a little bit on the other side of it. I think that I think that going from Staley to Morris, I think is an upgrade myself. A lot of that is because of the experience of Raheem Morris. You know, Brandon Staley, he came to the Rams as a defensive coordinator, being an outside linebackers coach of the Denver Broncos. And that gave me concern immediately because it's like, what is he teaching Von Miller? Like how much can he teach Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, you know? So how much of an impact was he really having? And then he did an awesome job for the Rams. Schematically, the Rams defense was great last year, but there are some very talented players on that defense. So you know, Raheem Morris, with his experience and the fact that he's worked with McVay before, the second that Staley was gone, McVay was kind of already on the Morris train. I think, I don't know, schematically, I think that the Rams improved. Roster-wise, though, I do think that the Rams defense did downgrade a little bit, just with some of the losses. Morgan Fox, John Johnson, Troy Hill, you know, some names like that. So the next one here is still on coaches, but it's who was the worst position coach loss? We lost Aaron Cromer as the offensive line coach, Joe Barry is the linebacker coach, and Aubrey Pleasant, who was the cornerbacks coach. We'll start with Rams fan KDH. Which one of those do you think is the biggest loss?
Probably the cornerback coach because Jalen Ramsey was very good this year, but if he is losing one of his cornerback coaches and he has to rebond with a new one, it's going to be kind of tough. So I think that's our biggest loss for the coaches.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And Jalen Ramsey, who is clearly a superstar in this league, he even said that Pleasant was one of the best coaches that he's ever had. So yeah, it's definitely a big loss. What about you, Rams House? What do you think?
I'd honestly say Aubrey Pleasant too, because the way that Ramsey, like a superstar like that, was raving about him and how long he was with the Rams, was just crazy too. And also just turning guys like Darius Williams, who really nobody expected to be such a star, and it may be because he's alongside with Ramsey, but also just you hear the whole secondary raving about him. Even John Johnson loved him. So I think that's a huge loss, because just all that value that he brought, and he really improved players' games. You could even make an argument for Ramsey, even though he's good. He had his best year last year with the Rams, and that secondary just looked elite. And it's going to be interesting to see how we do this year.
Yeah, anybody who watches Ram Showcase knows my love for Aubrey Pleasant, and I've loved that guy as a coach for years. You know, I've been a big fan of his. The second that Staley was gone, I was all over my show saying Aubrey Pleasant needs to be promoted, you know. But like I said, it looked like McVay kind of already had his mindset on who he wanted, which was Raheem Morris. I still, though, Aubrey Pleasant and Joe Barry, I mean, those are two huge losses as far as the behind the scenes kind of aspect of it goes, because those are two incredible coaches. So, you know, Pleasant, you know, I was really excited to have him in the building, but Joe Barry out there, he's going to be the defense coordinator of the Packers. I think that's an awesome job for him. And I think that the Packers defense gets better because of Joe Barry. This last question here, this is just a little bit of a more fun one, but the Rams are scheduled to release a new uniform this offseason and next offseason. The word is that Kevin Demoff is trying to get the league to approve releasing an alternate uniform every single offseason, which would just make me kind of poor because I will buy them. I'll buy the new uniform every time that one comes out. So I'm waiting for that to happen, but we have a uniform that will be released. I'm assuming it'll be maybe next month, maybe it'll be May time, but I'm waiting to get my Matt Stafford jersey until that happens. But we'll start with Rams House on this one. What color do you think the jersey is when the Rams release their new uniform style?
I honestly think it's going to be yellow, just all yellow. And then the numbers are going to be blue. I don't think they're going to go with the gradient on it, because I think they're going to follow kind of like that bone number thing, where it's just all blue, that type of font. I think that would look really good. And then for the next year, if they did another alternate the next year, I would honestly love to see black and yellow. I think that would look really good. And I'm right with you. I would buy an alternate jersey every year, so I'd kind of be poor.
Yeah, I've already got money set aside so when the new one releases, I can just buy it right away. So, Rams fan KDH, what color jersey do you think that the Rams released this offseason?
So I think they're gonna have like a yellow jersey with blue numbers, but on the bottom it's gonna be fading to blue, and then the pants are gonna be blue, and instead of having like the yellow stripes on the side, they're gonna have the white stripes. And yeah, that's what I think their jerseys are gonna be.
Man, I'm excited. I really do think that the Rams go with a yellow. That is like the one color that they have right now that they don't have a uniform of, so it would make sense. I do eventually expect a white to come in at some point, but you know what? I think that there is a very strong chance that the Rams get another blue style, and I think part of that is the fact that not a lot of people were in love with the gradient numbers going from the white to the yellow. Not everybody was a fan of that. It doesn't bother me at all. I think it's kind of cool, but I do think a yellow is coming, and I love the bone gray. That's been my favorite. I'm all on the bone gray train right now, and I think a yellow jersey with some bone gray pants. I think that would be an interesting combo to see. But right now, the bone on yellow was my favorite. We only wore it against the Jets, but that was my favorite this year. So, guys, thank you so much for taking some time and having this conversation with me. There's nothing better than talking Rams football with some hardcore Rams fans. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on. It's really fun to talk Rams too, because everybody else in my family just likes a different team. So there's nobody really to talk to, but I have you guys now. So
I'm the same way, man. Dad's a Chargers fan. Sister's a Bucks fan. It's just a disaster over here. Rams fan KDH, man. Drop your Twitter. Where can we follow you at?
My Twitter is at KARUN, which is my name.
And that's it? Just KU?
Yeah, it's just that.
It's AN.
Huh?
It's AN or ON?
No, it's at KARUN.
KARUN.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, make sure you guys follow there, and your channels are on the screen, so you guys don't need to plug those necessarily. I've got them already there. Make sure you guys go shoot over some subscribes. That was a weird one to say, and give some love. You can never have too much Rams content. So again, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me, and you guys have an awesome rest of your Sunday. All right.
All right, you too.
All right, bye. Have a nice day.